Once upon a long ago, part three. So, here's a lady. I mean, a lady. Yes, a prim and proper lady. She was born in 1901. Yeah, I got itch. 1901. And for the next 91, almost 92 years, she lived through a lot. She was the only girl with five brothers, and she was the oldest. 1901. So, when she was born, a lot of homes, many homes had no electricity, no indoor plumbing. I can remember going to the family farm, is what they called it. The family farm. Her cousin still lived on the farm. I was a little girl then, her youngest granddaughter at that time. And there were still was no electricity, and they had an outhouse, a scary two-seater outhouse. Although I think there might have been a spider that sat on one of the seats. Eeks. So back in 1901 to about 1918, travel was mostly by horse or train. In fact, when she was an adult, she worked for the B&O Railroad, Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. I think she worked in some sort of clerical position. The Wright brothers had not yet flown an airplane. That was in 1903. And automobiles were still very rare. I do believe she told me her family had acquired one of the first Model T. I don't know. Uh, she lived through the rise of the telephone. Um, and there were early silent movies, no talking movies yet. This is going way back. The sinking of the Titanic in 1912. World War One. Oh, and the deadly 1918 influenza pandemic. They called it the Spanish flu. That was just the first 18 years of her life. Then came her young adult years. So during that time, women gained the right to vote. The roaring 20s of the jazz There were radios, automobiles, and the beginning of talking movies. Imagine that, just the beginning. I can remember there was, as a little bitty child, a television inside of a electronics shop, TV shop, had teeny tiny little screen. Yeah. And TVs were all black and white back then. If you were even able to have a TV, then came the Great Depression, massive unemployment, total poverty. I don't know what it means, but they had Dust Bowl years in part of America. I don't know what that means. What the Dust Bowl years were. Now, in our middle years, the 1940s to 1950s, another war. She lived through World War II, the attack on Pearl Harbor. With this came rationing of food, gas, goods, the Holocaust, the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. After the war, television entered homes. Yeah, people were able to have TVs. Let's see. I guess after that I was born. Woohoo! And my brother before me. Suburbs expanded. Then the Cold War began. And the fear of nuclear war became common. This is all in my grandmother's life. Now, from the 1950s to the 70s, she witnessed the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King Jr.'s speeches and assassination, school desegregation, and major social changes for women and minorities. She also saw the Apollo 11 moon landing. I remember that long, long ago. I was a little girl, and we were all at school, was it? Or at camp. I don't remember which. Maybe at summer camp. And there was a little tiny television, and we were all gathered around and watched the Apollo moon landing. Color TV came into being. It was a long time before our family had color TV. Jet airplanes, rock and roll, Vietnam. Oh, what a horror. The assassinations of President John Fitzgerald Kennedy and his brother Robert Kennedy. Wow. So, in her later years, 1980s to 1992, she also saw that personal computers entered into homes, cable TV, the end of the Cold War, fall of the Berlin Wall, the beginning of modern digital age. So in her lifetime, she saw the ending of so many eras and the beginning of so many eras. She went through all sorts of wars and poverty, from riches to poverty. Now, I wonder why, when we came back to live with her, and she's already, say, 65 years old, I wonder why she was so grouchy. Whew. Having lived through all that, and then to have two little kids pile in on her, and she had already warned her daughter that this was going to happen. Yeah, I can imagine why she was so angry. And uh, hello, dear. And she was born before marriage, before airplanes, born before antibiotics, television, space travel, computers, modern highways, and she lived long enough to see astronauts walk on the moon, satellites orbit the Earth, computers begin to change daily life. She lived a lifetime of change. Long, long time ago. And her life ended in 1992. Yep. So then, then I think about my daddy. I'll talk about daddy another time. He lived to be 98. He just passed. Anyhow, God bless you. And until the next time, good night. See you later.